Welcome back to First Take. The Spurs reached the finals after a grueling 7-game series with the defending champs. Victor Wembanyama's emotional post-game moment drew attention, but he quickly made it clear the job not finished yet. Listen to Wemby after 7 games.
Coming back down from this is a challenge, and it's not done yet. We still need to really come back down to earth and realize that we haven't done the hardest yet. The job isn't done at all. So we still got about, I don't know, what time is it? Like 30 plus hours to recenter.
So we talked about this a little bit in the last block, but we bring it up again. What is more of a concern, a possible Spurs hangover or the Knicks rust, since it's been 9 days since they last played a meaningful basketball game?
Well, listen, I'm going to say it's the hangover rather than the rust. I mean, I understand that rust is a factor when you don't playing 4 games in 23 days. I get that part. But I'm looking at a stat here over the last 10 years. The team entering the NBA Finals with more rest has won 7 championships, including 5 of the last 6 in each of the past 4. Damn it, I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to assume, although I will concede it's an assumption, and you know what they say about the assumptions, I'm still going to assume that you played 82 regular season games. You won 12 playoff games. In the Knicks' case, 12 or 14 games, okay? I think it's safe to assume you didn't forget how to play basketball. You'll be all right, okay? I understand rust is a factor. I understand that San Antonio is in their flow. But the New York Knicks, the level of efficiency that they've been playing with, the level of confidence that they have, Brunson being who he is, Karl Anthony Towns with his ability to stroke, Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and what they're doing, I'm going to assume that they didn't forget how to play basketball, particularly playoff basketball, based on what we've seen thus far in these playoffs. And I'm going to say rest is an advantage, not a disadvantage, even though there's always the specter of rust. And as I'm sure my man Wilbon would explain.
I would always rather play through the predictability of something physical, something athletic. That's all that is. Teams do it. We saw the Knicks do it ultimately in the fourth quarter. In that Cleveland series, yes, there was a collapse and a choke, but the Knicks had to actually get involved in that. Something that's emotional and psychological, which you saw there, and one of the things we love about Wembanyama is his candor and honesty. He was trying to convince himself of that, okay, and his teammates. He knows who's listening to that ultimately. We have to get over this. It is much harder to get over something that is psychological and emotional than something physical. Again, I'm going to go back to Castle. Maybe there's some similarity for Castle in terms of winning a national semifinal and then having to come down from that and 48 hours later go back on a Monday night and play for a national championship. So he's experienced that. The rest of them, no, they haven't. The Knicks have played through rust. In these playoffs, they've done it. So I expect them to do it again. Stephen A., will they be able to do it quick enough? Could they be down 4 to 7 points at halftime, or is it 11 to 14, and you're fighting back in a manner that's logical? What you saw there, and one of the things we love about Wembanyama is his candor and honesty. He was trying to convince himself of that, okay, and his teammates. He knows who's listening to that ultimately. We have to get over this. It is much harder to get over something that is psychological and emotional than something physical. Again, I'm going to go back to Castle. Maybe there's some similarity for Castle in terms of winning a national semifinal and then having to come down from that and 48 hours later go back on a Monday night and play for a national championship. So he's experienced that. The rest of them, no, they haven't. The Knicks have played through rust. In these playoffs, they've done it. So I expect them to do it again. Stephen A., will they be able to do it quick enough? Could they be down 4 to 7 points at halftime, or is it 11 to 14, and you're fighting back in a manner that just takes all your energy and you can't finish it? Rust, they will get through. The issue is when.
Let's go back into NBA history. You guys experienced this. Wembanyama reminds me of Shaquille O'Neal when he came into the league and when LeBron came into the league. 1995, Shaq's 3rd year. Right? They make the finals. They beat Jordan. The last series Jordan never lost. Do you believe that? They beat Jordan in the 2nd round. They go 7 games with Indiana in the conference finals. Shaq has later admitted that his mental state went away after that. They go in to play the 6-seeded Houston Rockets. Never forget, underestimate the heart of the champion. They get blitzed. All right. LeBron, 2007. The emotional overcoming of the Detroit Pistons. LeBron's 4th year, age 22, just like Victor. They go into that series. Obviously, the Spurs were the better team. They were not going to win that series, but they were not emotionally able to compete. So now, here we have Victor, 22 years old, 3rd year, coming off this very emotional series. Will he go the same path as those two? Will he and his team have trouble meeting it emotionally?
Let me say for the record, I'm not buying that from Shaquille O'Neal one bit, as I have told him to his face on several occasions. It wasn't emotional. It was that you went up against the Olajuwon. That's what happens. When you go up against somebody, the Dream, Hakeem the Dream, one of the greatest centers to have ever lived, with the Dream shake and everything, and all the
but they got swept.
I understand that. They got their ass kicked because Houston. Let me tell you something right now. And by the way, when they beat Jordan, let's not forget the fact that the man was retired. Came out of retirement with 17 games left in the regular season, and then got to the playoffs. He wasn't Jordan. The next year they got swept by Jordan.
Well, but at that time he thought it was a huge moment.
I'm just saying to you that we can look at it all we want to. I get the comparisons and I understand that. Here's what I think that we can't underestimate. I'm going to bring up this name, and nobody has brought it up on First Take in quite a few weeks. I'm going to bring up the name Greg Popovich. The man, let's understand something. Greg Popovich is one of the greatest coaches to have ever coached basketball. And it wasn't just about X's and O's. It's the mental that he's a specialist in. I know this because Larry Brown taught me that about him. Larry Brown raved about Greg Popovich and what he brought to the table. I remember when Greg Popovich won his first ring, and the next season the Sixers were their home opener. And Greg Popovich walked over to Larry Brown, sat down next to him on a bench just to show him this ring that he obviously felt Larry Brown helped him earn because he had been tutoring under Larry Brown for so many years. Greg Popovich is one of the all-time greats, and he ain't sitting at home in some rocking chair, leaving everything to Mitch Johnson and everybody else. This man is in their ear. He's got when Wembanyama got through the elbow and he got ejected from the game, and we were speculating about him getting suspended. When they got off the plane, who was waiting for him? It was Greg Popovich. What did Wemby do the rest of the series? See, these are the kind of things that we got to pay attention to. You see Tim Duncan there and David Robinson is sitting around. They ain't just sitting around watching the game like they ain't got something better to do. Let me chill and watch this game and eat some popcorn. Hell no. They in these guys' ears. So you got to understand, this is what they bring to the table. That pedigree, the tradition, the history of the San Antonio Spurs, led by its leader, Greg Popovich, can have a very profound impact. It's going to take everything for the New York Knicks to offset that. Because while we rave about Mike Brown and the marvelous coaching job he's done in the postseason, we also recognize the fact, we said, hey, he was a champion in Golden State. Hey, he coached under Greg Popovich. Yeah, under Greg Popovich. You know what? You've learned mastery, but the mastermind is still around. We got to overcome that, too.
Did you just flip to what you're more concerned about now? So
no.
Because it sounds like now you feel like the Spurs could get over their
I'm always because I'm looking at the performance. The performance got to perform. But you always pay attention to who. Listen, we do stuff in this business. What do we all do? We talk to Wilbon.
I don't know.
That's what we do.
Might not be great judgment.
We talk to Wilbon. I mean, you lean on the elder statesmen, the wise men, to guide you.
Now, I will say this, Wilbon. You saying New York's rust, they figured it out before. All due respect to the Cavaliers, they are not the Spurs.
No, they're not.
They are not the Spurs.
But rest versus rust is entirely on one team. That's not an equation. The Knicks will have to play themselves through that rust. 8 days. Is that right, Stephen? 9 days. They'll play themselves through it. The question is, will they do it early enough in this game to find the form that we're just, going crazy over that we saw against Atlanta and Philly and Cleveland? How early in the game will they be able to get beyond it?
And then you look at the Spurs and what they were able to do in Game 7, specifically in the second half. You could argue no one has more momentum than the Spurs heading into this game, considering the way they played in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Spurs have shown that when they are challenged, that they will answer. So the question is, does that answer come in Game 1 tonight? And look, They were in deep trouble in game 1 in Oklahoma City, and they answered that challenge. The situation is different. They're favored now. They're favored and they're at home. So it's a challenge to see how they handle the emotions coming off that as the favorites at home.
I got it, and I understand it. I'm just simply saying, you know, when I look at them, your youth can end up being utilized against you. We need to understand that from a physical perspective, they have a 7'5" dude and a bunch of dudes surrounding him who all play defense, who all can guard Brunson. Think about that.
They can.
I mean, they all can guard Brunson.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell. You know, Champagny.
Sell.
Everybody. They got 6 or 7 bodies to throw at Jalen Brunson. I mean, you just got to pay. You got to know what you're going up against.
He flipped his answer. He's a little worried.
I'm not.
He's
No. Hold on. I've never once said I wasn't worried. I came into this series saying San Antonio's one of the 2 best teams in basketball. They deserve to be the favorites. But that don't mean the Knicks can't take them. You just got to be on your game. I want the Knicks to understand. And by the way, I deserve some credit, so I'm going to take it. You know, when I called the Knicks out, I almost had a stroke. You understand, on national television. They didn't lose since. They've been 11-0. So I'm looking at the New York Knicks, and I'm saying, yo, there's a level of urgency. It's not just because it's the NBA Finals. The Spurs can kick your ass. You got to show up. You got to show up, or you go. Listen, you got people out there talking about Knicks might win in 5. Spurs might win in 5. You win the first 2 games at home, you can't go to the Garden and steal one. You got to be ready for this. You got to understand. You got to take them out.
Stephen A.
You can't give them no life to breathe.
The Knicks' emotional preparedness, I'm not worried about that at all, given the series they have been through the last 2 postseasons. The injuries they could not survive 2 postseasons ago.
Yeah.
Last year, 2 incredibly emotional series, Boston and, of course, the Pacers. I'm not worried about that with them.